Welcome to our Thursday morning gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Health Care and Tufts Health Plan. My name is Tara Healey. I'm the founder and director of Mind the Moment, the mindfulness program of Harvard Pilgrim and Tufts. And I am delighted to be here this morning with John Roberts, who joins me every Thursday morning just for the first few moments to offer insights onto what's coming up, different things happening within our program. And I'm already, John, wanting to start to promote Susan Bauer-Wu, who's going to be here at the end of the month. And I will say something again at the end of our session this morning. But John, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sure, I'm always grateful to be indulged here on Thursday mornings. And as usual, I come as a representative of Living Well Community, our interactive virtual wellness class library. We also have a lot of on-demand programming created by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan for you and everyone you know. And this week, we kicked off a set of 4 sessions entitled The Mindful Gardener, which will be taking place on the first 4 Tuesdays of April. So that included April 1st, still to come, April 8th, 15th, and 22nd, 12 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern on each occasion. Now, the guide for these Mindful Gardener sessions is our friend Shanti Douglas, who is an expert mindfulness teacher and an avid home gardener. And she'll be exploring with us how the principles of mindfulness might be applied to gardening, and also how the act of gardening can teach us something about how to best inhabit our mindfulness practices. Now, if you happen to have missed our first session, which took place on Tuesday, do not despair. The recording is now available for viewing on our YouTube page. I'm going to drop into the chat the link where you can access that. Now, Tara, during our session, Shanti read a quote from the late Vietnamese monk and peace activist Thich Nhat Hanh, a favorite of ours. And here's the quote. I thought I would read it if you don't mind. "Your mind is like a piece of land planted with many different kinds of seeds. Seeds of joy, peace, mindfulness, understanding, and love. Seeds of craving, anger, fear, hate, forgetfulness. These wholesome and unwholesome seeds are always there, sleeping in the soil of your mind. The quality of your life depends on the seeds you water. If you plant tomato seeds in your gardens, tomatoes will grow. Just so, if you water a seed of peace in your mind, peace will grow. When the seeds of happiness in you are watered, you will become happy. When the seed of anger is watered, you will become angry. The seeds that are watered frequently are those that will grow strong," end quote. So I thought this was beautiful and an uplifting reminder that no person is inherently good or bad, but that all of us carry within ourselves the potential to behave in ways that support life or act against it. And what separates those among us who act generously and magnanimously from those among us who do not is just that effort that a person puts into watering and tending those seeds of generosity and magnanimity within themselves. Not to mention, of course, how much water and tending they are getting from the people around them. So on the one hand, I think Thich Nhat Hanh's words are an affirmation. We do have control over the tendencies that we promote within ourselves. But his words are also a warning, especially to those of us who have been drafted to raise children. Take care to keep the soil well watered and maintained. And I think I can even combine those two sentiments to say that if we keep the seeds in our own soil well watered and well maintained, it will encourage a healthier ecosystem for the seeds in the soil of everyone else that we are around and who we might have a sense of guardianship over. Does that sound right to you, Tara? Does that sound like
No, I mean, John, it sounds great. I think the one thing that I would add is that when those seeds of anger, greed, grasping, frustration arise, the other thing that Thich Nhat Hanh says, and although he has not been a primary teacher for me, more on the periphery, but there are certain things that he says, and the one thing he says is when those seeds arise, practice will help you recognize them, so you're not reactively engaging in the world without seeing it. But to take good care of those, the resulting emotions from those seeds, so that,
Mm,
if anger has arisen, and there's a lot happening in the world that could make us angry.
mm,
So
mhm,
actually fully embracing, allowing the seeing and the turning toward, in a sense, and just like he often uses an image of holding that anger the way you might hold a baby.
mm,
um,
mhm, mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
so because I think what I wanna make really clear is that it's not about not feeling the difficult emotions, or that something's wrong if you have them, and you should always feel generous. And, that I just feel like I just wanted to offer that balance.
Absolutely. And I think, if it comes to pass that maybe, let's say, the tomato of anger has risen out of your garden because you've been watering that seed, then it's not that, and that's why I hear you saying, Tara, it's not that you like, cast the tomato of anger out, but maybe you allow it to sort of seep back into the ground and become new soil for different things to
Yeah,
rise up. It's like, even those moments of uh difficult emotions that we might have can
yeah.
still be
I mean,
things that
that's
we can.
shining the light on that. I think in a way, it almost helps metabolize the emotion,
Mhm.
so you're not burying it. It's yeah, you're turning toward your metabolizing is I don't know why, but that's the word that's coming to me.
Well, another word that got thrown around in our session was composting, which I thought was also beautiful.
Oh,
Because, I
that's
mean,
right.
yeah, it has
Yes,
that sense of
yes.
reusing everything, even things that we might think of as garbage can
Yeah,
still be
that's great, John.
used as,
Right.
soil.
Yeah, that's much better. That's perfect because you're using the energy of it toward good.
Indeed, indeed. So, let's see. I just wanted to make sure folks have interest, and I hope they do, that they know where to join us for the next sessions in the series. I just put into the chat the link where you can access sessions 2, 3, and 4. And we do hope to see folks there. Tara, a quick question, if I will. And I would also love to hear from folks on the call today. So I asked Shanti at the beginning of the session, um, who her gardening hero was, like who the person was that
Oh, I
made
think I
her.
joined late, John. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, she had this great answer. She said that she became inspired by her grandmother. Apparently, she spent a year in Germany when she was 10, Shanti did, with her
Yeah.
grandmother, and that the grandmother taught her this love of gardening. And Shanti like
Oh.
held up her hands and she said, I have these large, sturdy gardener's hands. So it was and it made me think, though, I have these soft, dainty lute player's hands, and so I'm not sure if this gardening thing is gonna work out for me. But Tara, I was wondering, is there somebody in your life that has inspired you to garden, if at all, if you are inspired at all to garden?
No, I mean, I am inspired, John, but I did not grow up in a family that engaged in gardening. Back
Mm,
coming, I mean, my roots are Irish. I've
mm,
got all my grandparents from going back. So, food was an issue. And so I'm very interested in it now,
mm.
and really learning more about it, embracing it, because I am so inspired when I do plant a seed and I see something grow. It is awe inspiring.
So maybe you are your own gardening hero, which is
We'll
beautiful.
see.
But I mean, I have this distinct memory of driving with my my grandfather, my mother's stepfather, in his green Ford Country Squire station wagon in the 80s to some place outside the city where he was growing tomatoes. I mean, it must have been like a
Wow.
community garden or something.
Yeah,
And he lived
yeah,
in an apartment, so that would make sense. And I
yeah.
remember eating one of those tomatoes, like fresh off the vine. And I
Right.
remember because it was the first time I'd like ever eaten like fresh. Like we were
Wow.
we were a family that, where like lime jello was that was salad, right? And oranges came in a can, like just floating in syrup. And so the idea of like tasting something that still had like that
Yeah.
taste of dirt still clinging to it,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
opens something up. And I still only eat or like eating tomatoes if they have a little bit of that earth scent sticking to
Yeah.
them. So,
Oh,
but
John, that reminds
yeah,
me, I'll tell you of a great recipe using freshly picked tomatoes. So in the blender with fresh basil
ooh,
and olive oil, and you put
love
it
it.
over hot pasta. There's more, but yes.
Tara, I should let you go. I should let you
Yeah,
get into it here.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm just gonna I accidentally took the hosting capabilities away from you when I joined by accident. Let me I'm gonna make you the
Okay,
host. There you are.
thanks.
And thank you as always for
Yeah,
letting me
thanks, John.
stop by. All right, have a good day.
Okay. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and start and, find a position that feels like it's going to be supportive for you. And that could be lying. It could be lying down if you're not too tired, seated, standing, eyes open or closed. So go ahead and make some micro movements so that you are sitting in a way that is upright and engaged, yet at the same time relax to the degree that you can. And as a way to begin, I find it helpful just to take 2 deep breaths, making your exhalation longer than your inhalation. So go ahead and do that. And letting go of all that has happened so far today and releasing anticipation of what's next. And then just allowing the mind and the body to come together in this moment with full body awareness, noticing sensations. Perhaps it's the points of contact with the back of the body and the surface. So, it could be the soles of your feet or all along the back of the legs. Just receiving. So, full body awareness, receiving sensations. Could be pulsing, tingling, vibration, temperature. And approaching like you're a scientist and the subject with a kind of curious, receptive, knowing awareness. How are things this morning? And just simply receiving whether they're pleasant or possibly not so pleasant, or they're just kind of neutral this morning. Receiving whatever has arisen in your body and mind, allowing. And let's take a moment to expand awareness to receive sound that may be happening in the room or outside of the room. And without any need to label the sound, but just receiving, knowing, hearing is occurring. And allowing sounds to arise and pass in your background as they naturally will, bringing awareness back inward to the whole body. And let's do a sweep of our attention through the body. So just bringing awareness to your feet. And as we move, just receiving sensation or noticing lack of sensation. So both your feet, sweeping up to the lower legs, including the knees and the thighs. Receiving, coming up to the torso. So the front of the body, the back of the body, internally, what is happening here? Moving up to the shoulders and sweeping down both arms. So the right and the left into the hands, releasing, moving up to the neck, the back of the head, sides and top of the head, including the ears. And moving awareness now to the face. So forehead and eyes, nose, cheeks, and jaw, mouth and chin and tongue. Softening the muscles of the face to the degree that you can, noticing sensation or lack of, and releasing that. Coming back now to full body awareness just for a moment. See if there are any areas looking for attention, letting your awareness land there just for a moment. In a way, it's a I see you. You are allowed as well, whatever that might be. And let's find an anchor for the wandering mind for the remainder of our practice. So that could be breath sensation, literally anywhere in the body. It's easiest for you to track the sensations of the inhalation and the exhalation. So rise and fall of the kind of belly, abdomen area. Maybe you notice it more in the chest or the nostrils. You could also use the movement of the whole carriage of the body as you inhale and exhale and feeling the sensations of that. You could take the palms of your hands and rest them on the top of your thighs and the points of contact that you feel, that subtle uh, point of contact, subtle pressure could be your anchor. And if you have a consistent sound in your background, that's okay too. So go ahead and find an anchor that you'll use for the remainder of the practice. And each time the mind wanders, which it will a lot, that's just kind of what our minds do, not a problem. A thought will slip in and it will be typically unnoticed. And then all of a sudden you'll notice, I've been ruminating, I've been planning, I've been remembering. Just thinking, release, soften the body, return to breath sensation, another body sensation, or sound. Noticing where the mind is and simply releasing the memory or the planning, soft mental note thinking. Soften your body and return again. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may whatever good comes of our practice be a benefit to all beings. So if your eyes were closed, taking a moment to open the eyes and maybe do a little reorient to the room that you're in. And I forgot to mention this, but we can, if you have not opened the chat, go ahead and open the chat and go to the drop-down menu and make sure that you select everyone. And if there is anybody who is new on the session this morning, I just want to welcome you. Our practices are usually about 12 minutes in length, and on Thursdays, John always joins with updates. And just a reminder, so he talked about Shanti and the mindful gardening practice, which I joined and really loved it. I joined just a little bit late, but it's, you don't have to, I mean, they're not linear. You can join anytime you want. And the very last Tuesday of the month is our science series. So we have a group of people that are engaged in usually research of, or they're thought leaders in the particular area. So this one, this book is called Effective Approaches to the Climate Crisis that begin with us, A Future We Can Love, and it's by Susan Bauer Wu. So Susan will, I'll be interviewing her on the last Tuesday of the month, and you can find that in the links that John put. Or if you go to, well, here, I'll put it in. But in the meantime, any questions or observations about your practice this morning? So there's the website to find out more info, but yeah, so anybody want to offer how the practice felt for them this morning? When I lead these, my intention is to give some space without speaking at all. And some of the teachers do it differently. They have it fully guided, but I feel like I want to, and all those methods are valuable. They're all really valuable. Yeah, any questions, thoughts, observations, or sharing? So if you've come across a podcast or, a particular episode of a podcast or a book that has been really useful to you, A Future We Can Love, I think is excellent. I read it in preparation for the interview with Susan. All right, I think we can call it 8:56. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Oh, we got something here. Let's see. I've been thinking about the moon a lot since there's a lot of science on when to plant. Yes. Any fun, interesting, Colleen, not that any fun moon facts related to mindfulness. Not that I am aware of. Um, Yeah, but there is, I know that the moon and the cycles of the moon influence it's huge for gardeners. But I don't know of any on moon facts related to it, but um, it's probably available by Google, Professor Google. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining. I, as always, really, really appreciate this community. Um, oh, the Moonly app. Oh, okay. Thank you, Janice. That's great. I will definitely check it out because I don't know about you, but I find that on the when it's a full moon or even, a big moon, the days leading up to the full moon, my sleep is very disrupted. I'm usually a decent sleeper, but I find that the cycles of the moon when they're big and full are it's much harder to sleep. All right. Have a really good weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you back on Tuesday. I'm not sure who the teacher is on Tuesday. Oh, it's Shanti. It's afternoon. I keep thinking we're doing the morning, but our morning Tuesday is gone. So it is Shanti, and I'm going to make every effort to be there. I really love our instructor pool because they all have these special talents that we are often able to tie with practice. So, okay, everybody, bye.